All right, guys, we are back at it again. So in today's video, what I'm doing is welding up our front bumper, the rock sliders, and also the rear bumper as well. And then in the next video, we'll finish off that rear canopy that I started in the last video. One of the great things that I love about YouTube is the fact that there are so many detailed videos that guys have made over the years to do all different types of components on some of these older vehicles. There was a video on how to take the front grille off correctly. There was even a very detailed video on how to fabricate and mount these bumpers right to a first-gen Tacoma. So a lot of these videos are just done by people that have fabricated themselves. The company themselves doesn't really do it, but they just have some basic instructions, and the videos you find make this a whole lot easier. And if there's one thing that I've learned with steel fabrication is to really take a lot of time and get your pieces square, get them exactly how you want them before you start to tack them in. And that might just mean you might need a couple of different types of squares and stuff. The magnet squares do work well for certain things. Other things they don't work great for. And then the other squares that I'm using, it's from a company called Genuine Metalworks, and those are really nice with C-clamps, and you'll probably notice in these videos that I use those C-clamps and the Genuine Metal squares quite a bit. They made this entire fabrication a lot easier to get pieces perfectly square with each other. And one thing that I'm taking a lot of extra care to do with all the fabrication on this truck is to make sure that I'm beveling all my edges. So if there's any welds that I'm going to be grinding down, that there's still a lot of weld there that I'm not grinding off. And that's something that's really important, especially with a bumper like this where there's going to be a winch on that's rated up to 10, 12,000 pounds. So we want to make sure that all of our welds are going to be extremely strong and they're going to last a long time. And one other thing that really made this project a lot easier, before for my other projects I was using like a 120 volt Forney welder. They sent me one of their Forney 190 MPs, and it is a great welder. So I got a 240 volt plug hooked up for this project. One thing I noticed is just how much more electricity you're pumping into the pieces. So I know that the welds are going to be much stronger using a 240 volt welder. And it was actually a lot of fun playing around with the different settings, the voltage and the wire speed, and just kind of trying to figure out how the different voltages and wire speed affects the welds, and even when you're doing vertical welds and horizontal welds, and how much it kind of makes a difference. So it was a great learning experience to do all these welds and to put this together. Even though a lot of these welds are going to be ground off and you're never going to see them, it's always a good time just to practice. So practice your putting down dimes and just trying to make the welds as consistent and clean as you can. It's just good practice for when you actually want to have visible welds, that they're going to look a lot better. And this was my first time doing any type of coping with steel as well. So, I mean, they looked all right. They weren't bad or anything, or too bad, but they're all right. But once we got everything tacked into place, then we can really start to fully weld the entire thing. This bumper, it's heavy, right? It's kind of hard for me to even pick up because it's probably around 60, 70 pounds, and to be able to get it into place, and especially once that winch is in there, I think it's closer to 100 pounds total. But all in all, the bumper went together pretty good. The only thing that I had a little bit of struggles with was actually the winch mount. So there's holes that are already pre-drilled that you can't really see them because they're kind of recessed in the bumper there. I just had to open them up a bit because I wasn't able to get a socket in there and to get two of the mounting bolts tight without doing that. But other than that, everything went together nice and smoothly. And here's a look at the final bumper there. You can see I've already been driving it around because there's bug splatter all over it. But this is going to be a great bumper for that winch. And now I'm working on the rock sliders here. This is more of an aesthetic and more of a decorative touch, I would say. Realistically, I'm not going to be taking this to a place and, climbing up rocks or anything like that where I'm actually going to need them. But these do actually have an added side benefit that I didn't realize until, after I had everything fabricated, is that I need a little step to reach the roof of the truck, and I can just stand on the edge of this and get up there easily. So they do serve a purpose, but originally it was kind of more for the aesthetic. What was nice with this is that I was able to use existing holes in the frame. I think I just had to drill one new hole to get this bolted directly to the underside of the frame of the truck there. And with stuff like this, that, I'm just modeling this off of different products and stuff that I see online, is that I usually like to upsize the material. So this is all 1/4 inch thick plate that I'm using for the mounts there. I think typically guys use around 3/16 or something like that. But when I'm doing it myself, it's like, it doesn't really cost that much different, and it's not going to add that much more weight, but got peace of mind knowing that's going to be super strong. And now I'm working on the rear bumper here, so I'm kind of fabricating a custom plate here so that I can use the existing mount that was used previously for the rear bumper and the tow hitch. So on the truck itself, the bumper and the tow hitch are separate, and then you kind of bolt them together. But what's nice with this is that I was able to fabricate it so that I'm using the 4 existing connection points on each side, but it's all one plate. So there's no, I'm not joining 2 components together. So this rear bumper is going to be stronger than anything that I would ever be able to tow with the truck. The truck just wouldn't even be able to go at that point. But yeah, using this 240 volt welder, the 190 MP from Forney, it just gave me a lot more confidence to know that, when I'm fabricating pieces like this, that my welds are going to be much stronger. And it's just, just more kind of like peace of mind. And my welding skills are getting much better, and I'm able to have much consistent heat penetration and just deeper heat penetration with this welder as well, just because we're pumping so much more electricity into it. One of the things I love about steel is how you can just shape it, add it, cut it, weld it into place as if it's only one piece. One thing that's really cool when you make your own stuff is you can, put anything you want where you want it. So I bought these shackle mounts on Amazon, and I'm like, well, we might as well put 3 shackle mounts, one on either side, so that I have a place for recovery, but also just like a easy place to connect the trailer chains to, and then also a point in the center. So if I needed to tow something directly from the center of the rear bumper, I've got a shackle mount there rather than having to buy something to put in the 2-inch receiver. I can just weld it right to the bumper here. Welds like this, you want to make sure that these are done as well as you can, especially when it could be subject to a lot of force. So, making sure that we grind off all the mill scale, making sure that we're doing all of our beveling and getting really clean welds here. And even adding in little gusset pieces like this will add strength to the bumper and more rigidity. So overall, bumper went together very well, and very happy with the outcome. Awesome, guys, there's a final look at the bumper. And last thing that I'm doing in today's video is just putting together a simple drawer that goes under the bed here. It's about 4 inches deep, so I'll be able to get some items like shackles and the tow hitch and some rope or straps that'll be easily accessible under the truck, but also tucked away, because these are things that I'm not going to be using very often. So nice to have a little recessed drawer here. And on the next videos, you'll kind of see how it works fully. I didn't show an incredible amount of detail with this here. But other than that, guys, truck build is going along very good. And if you're looking at a welder, definitely check out Forney. Like I said, I'm using the 190 MP with this and hooked up to a 240 volt receptacle. And it was a great welder for this project. Awesome, guys. Thanks so much for watching. We'll catch you on the next video. Talk to you soon. Peace.